What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I am your host, Eric, and today we are going to discuss the cost of racism and how it is a tool of the wealthy to keep the working class divided so that we can never unite and never join together in a fight to take back what's ours by right. Let's get into it. NPR put out an article. This came out a while ago. A good friend of mine sent it to me the other day, and I thought it was pertinent information and something that I wanted to bring to you. I'll put the article in the description box for you. Cost of racism. The U.S. economy lost $16 trillion because of discrimination, according to a study by a bank. Nationwide protests have cast a spotlight on racism and inequality in the United States. Now, you got to keep in mind, this is from September 23rd, 2020. And if you'll think back in time, you'll remember the George Floyd protests very well. Now, a major bank has put a price tag on how much the economy has lost as a result of discrimination against African Americans. $16 trillion. Since 2000, U.S. gross domestic product lost that much as a result of discriminatory practices in a range of areas, including in education and access to business loans, according to a new study by Citigroup. It's not an insignificant number. By comparison, the U.S. gross domestic product totaled $19.5 trillion last year. And not acting to reverse discriminatory practices will continue to exact a cost. Citigroup estimates the economy would see a $5 trillion boost over the next 5 years if the U.S. were to tackle key areas of discrimination against African Americans. We believe we have a responsibility to address current events and to frame them with an economic lens in order to highlight the real costs of long-standing discrimination against minority groups, especially against Black people, and particularly in the U.S., wrote Raymond J. McGuire, a vice chairman at the bank and the chairman of its banking, capital markets, and advisory team. Wall Street itself has also faced accusations for years of discriminatory practices against African Americans, such as limiting approval for mortgages or not providing enough banking options in minority neighborhoods, which are among the damaging actions identified by Citigroup researchers. Specifically, the study came up with $16 trillion in lost GDP by noting 4 key racial gaps between African Americans and whites. $13 trillion lost in potential business revenue because of discriminatory lending to African American entrepreneurs, with an estimated 6.1 million jobs not generated as a result. $2.7 trillion in income lost because of disparities in wages suffered by African Americans. $218 billion lost over the past 2 decades because of discrimination in providing housing credit. And $90 billion to $113 billion in lifetime income lost from discrimination in access to higher education. As a result, Citigroup urges a slew of actions to reverse discriminatory practices and boost GDP over the next 5 years, including addressing the wage gap suffered by African Americans and promoting diversity at the top within banks and companies. Citigroup's recommendations aren't new. Various studies have shown similar findings, and experts have called for similar actions for years, though so far, progress has been slow. It has been slow. When white supremacy was the basis of the design of the infrastructure and everything else around your country's legal framework, it's very hard to overcome. In the IBEW, at the last convention, they made an attempt to address such challenges. But I suggest that it is really up to us as members, now that we have a tool that is accessible and usable, to police our own and make sure that we are not allowing racism to affect our potential for organizing the entire electrical industry, which is our objective. We want everyone in the electrical industry to be an IBEW member. Everyone. That means excluding no one. And at the last convention, under chargeable offenses, Article 25, Section 1T, there is now a tool for anyone who is being harassed or bullied or bothered to be able to press charges against those members that are doing it, and to be able to have that stop. There is a mechanism in place. So let's read Section 1T out of Article 25. These are, any member can be charged if they do any of these things. So this is what's under T. Engaging in any conduct that is harassing, bullying, or discriminatory against any member while in the workplace or performing work duties, or at union facilities or functions, because of the member's race, color, religion, age, creed, national origin, sex, gender, including gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, veteran status, disability, or other legally protected class. Provided that if an employer is investigating such conduct, notwithstanding any other provision in this article, the processing of charges filed under this subsection be held in abeyance until the conclusion of the employer's investigation. What that means is that any member who engages in this kind of activity can be charged. If this type of complaint goes through the employer and the employer opens an investigation, then the charges that you want to file will be held until that investigation is over, and then a decision to move forward with your charges will be made. But there is a tool now, and we got to understand that racism, bigotry, harassment, bullying, all this stuff against minority groups is a direct violation of our Constitution. Not only that, it's counterproductive to what we are trying to accomplish. We are in a union that wants to organize everyone. That's Latinos, blacks, white, gay, trans, lesbian, Asian, Pacific Islander. Doesn't matter. We want all of them. If they move copper wire, if they spin wire nuts, you should be in the IBEW. Point blank. We should not allow our own biases to affect that, because in the grand scheme of things, we are all on the same ladder rung, struggling for the same survival. And our mission is to uplift all of us, not to lift up one or two here so that they can get up there and the rest of us stay down here poor and destitute and hungry and working 80 hours a week to barely get by. My name's Eric, you're watching Union Minded. Remember that the fight is not left and right, it's up and down. It's gonna take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one. Remember, there could be no union without you and I front and center. Let's go. Peace.